Hello, and welcome to the Mobile User Acquisition Show, a podcast to help you unlock tremendous growth for your app. My name is Shamant Rao. I'm the CEO of the boutique growth marketing firm Rocket Ship HQ and host of the podcast Mobile User Acquisition Show. In each episode, we feature experts in the field of mobile growth and discuss strategies, tips, and pointers from the leading edge of mobile growth marketing. By the end of each episode, you will have gained actionable and tactical insights that will help you make more informed decisions in your own work around growth. The Mobile User Acquisition Show is produced by Meryl Vincent, Content Marketing Manager at Rocket Ship HQ. Our guest today is Matt Bailey, founder and CEO of GameOn. GameOn has had quite an unconventional journey from a B2C free-to-play prediction app that grew to 30,000 active users to a B2B game technology company listed on the Canadian stock market. In today's episode, Matt talks about how his company was brought to the brink due to COVID and how, because of that, they decided to execute an unlikely pivot. He shares his experience of getting clients from across industries, including reality TV, sports, and streaming, and how predictive games can apply to almost any industry across the world. Matt also shares some insights into the fascinating world of NFTs and how he sees them being a critical part of the future. Overall, this is a fascinating and insightful episode, and one that shows what unlikely doors can open up for mobile app businesses, even if they begin as B2C consumer-facing apps. I'm very excited to welcome Matt Bailey to the Mobile UA Show. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you because you've certainly had a very unconventional journey, which we will talk about. And that's what I'm excited to begin with you, really pivoting from being a consumer-facing app to what's essentially a B2B offering. And I'm sure there are consumer-facing aspects of what you do, but I think that's a pivot and a transformation, which I think is very unique. And I think it's just a lot for folks to learn from. Right, let's start up top at the beginning. You guys started off as a B2C app. Tell us about your early journey and about what happened when your early journey basically got to maybe a couple of years ago. What was the inflection point?
I'm from Australia, and at 23 years old, I just boarded a one-way ticket to New York. Just wanted to kind of work in the major leagues. That was the dream. I didn't have anything set up, no job or anything really established. I just got there and kind of started making it happen. I spent a lot of time eventually in sports. So the Brooklyn Nets and Barclays Center is where I spent most of my time. Also in the music festival world, but always on the business side of sports and entertainment. So driving revenue, doing deals, sometimes 7-figure deals, always on the strategic partnerships, revenue generating side of business. From there, I kept kind of climbing that corporate ladder, but at one point I knew I wanted to build something of my own. I'd come from a country, Australia, where sports betting was very mature, and that's something I just grew up and knew with as attached to sports. And that's where I saw the opportunity of sports betting growing in the US, especially wanted to be a part of the free-to-play part of the funnel. So that's why we started GameOn, which was at the start a free-to-play prediction app where you could download it, make free predictions on any sports and win a cash prize. And that was kind of the premise of the app. We got that up and running. You were helping us on the growth side. I think we got to about 30,000 monthly active users at one point and starting to generate some revenue. We went through Techstars, the accelerator program here in the US, which was really good for us. And we were kind of on that path of growing that business, but then COVID hit and there were no sports, kind of fell off the edge of the earth. Our monthly active users just went down to zero almost, and the little revenue we were generating also went to zero. And we didn't have much money in the bank. I hadn't paid myself personally for a year, so I was kind of living off credit cards at that time. And we needed to generate revenue quickly, both for the company and for the well-being of myself of running a company with little money in the bank. So we were kind of in desperation mode, but sometimes desperation brings out the best ideas, and it certainly did for us in white labeling our product. So we knew we had good technology. And we thought, how can we get someone to pay for this? So we went out and pitched it, and pretty quickly we were able to get NBC Universal on to do the official prediction game of the Real Housewives. And that was revenue in the bank quickly. And I was like, wow, like that was transactional. We can sell more of these. That's what I've done in the past. We sold another, and another. And, fast forward a couple of years after COVID now, and we're a fully B2B business. We focus 100% on being a white label game technology company, things like prediction games and fantasy games. That's kind of the journey of how we got here. It's an unlikely or terrible, horrible event like COVID, brought out an innovative concept, and what was the best move for business.
Yeah, there's so many aspects of that which I found very fascinating. I'm also just curious. You said, look, there was an opportunity with NBC Universal, but prior to that point, you guys were very sports focused. What about that opportunity struck you as something that was even viable or a possible direction for the app? Because on the face of it, if you're a sports tech app, a lot of people who run sports tech apps wouldn't even take a meeting from Real Housewives. They'll say they have nothing in common. So what about that struck you as something that could be a possible direction for the product and the company?
When we were a B2C product, we were kind of focusing on one category and didn't want to branch out into making it not focused on just sports. But we always knew that the technology was applicable to any content. It could be sports, reality TV, news, elections, the stock market, the weather, really any content that we could power prediction games for. We just needed the data to be funneling into it from different various sources to fuel and power the prediction game. So we always knew that. From a B2C product standpoint, we focused on sports and entertainment, or really just sports. But then if we're white labeling it in different use cases, in different places, different products, we're comfortable going out and saying, we can do this for reality TV, we can do this for news, the stock market, whatever. So our products back then and even today are content agnostic. They're also agnostic to geography. We can roll this out in any country, in any language, in any place in the world. And today our partners are certainly not just sports. We're working with MX Player in India, which is a big streaming platform there, and we're focusing on a lot of stuff that actually isn't sports. They have a lot of other content that our technology is directly applicable to. And the other thing is, like you said, there's not as much technology and competition serving those categories as well. So not only did we know that our technology was applicable, but we saw a market that wasn't being served on the entertainment side of things, and saw that as an opportunity.
So interesting, so interesting. For folks who aren't familiar with your product itself, can you explain and help them understand so that they can also hopefully see the commonalities between sports and Real Housewives and cricket, how the product itself connects the dots or bridges the gaps?
Yeah, so we're a white label game technology company. So we have games in our product suite, things like fantasy games and prediction games, that we white label to any content owners. That's sports teams and leagues, it's TV networks, it's streaming platforms, even a stock market, for example, if they want to have a prediction game. And what we do is we use the same engine. We're just customizing the front end for the different partners. So for the Real Housewives and for a cricket predictor partner, we're using actually the same technology on the back end. It looks and feels like a different product on the front end because that's the level of customization that we put into it. So, it's the same technology. We're white labeling those products and we're plugging it into our customers' environments. So, with NBC Universal, it lived in the Bravo app. With MX Player, it lives in the MX Player app. And we, as the game technology partner, bring it to life from start to finish. They kind of just let us plug in and give us the key. And then they don't have to do a thing from there. So there's zero lift for their team, which is a big plus for them. They're focused on the content, they're focused on community, and we focus on the game. So that's what we're doing with our partners. And again, the content is just the content. The technology itself is applicable across, all types of content, be it sports or reality TV or anything in between.
So I understand the main thing you guys are doing is really take data or variables. The data could be about the color of a reality TV person's outfit or what house they're living in, or it could be the score of a player in a game. As long as that raw data is available and there are users available to predict things. So in sports, they would predict, oh, who was going to win XYZ game. For a reality TV thing, they would predict what outfit is this woman going to wear. And you guys have like a reader board for making the right predictions.
That's the predictor product. Yeah, and the fantasy product is similar, but you're drafting and picking players or characters. So yeah, our games add engagement by adding layers of gamification to the experience. So, before the sport or before the episode or before the event, fans are making predictions on what they think will happen. Then during the event, they're going up and down leaderboards, making certain achievements, make it top of the leaderboard, and then they're winning not only rewards, but they're winning recognition and status. The Real Housewives want to be the most knowledgeable Real Housewife fan. Or if you think about the Bachelor Nation are just as crazy as NFL fans.
Yeah.
And they want to be the best. It's not just about winning monetary rewards. It's about the status and recognition that you get in front of a community that you care about.
I'm not in the Bachelor Nation demographic, but I get what you're talking about. Great. And with your B2B partners, how are these deals structured? On what basis are you guys getting compensated?
So there are three ways that we're making driving revenue. The first is setup fees. So that's like a technical integration, the customization fee, depending on what we're doing for the partner to integrate their platform. Then there's licensing revenue. So every product comes with a license fee that is month to month or year to year or season to season forever as they're using the product. And then the third is revenue share. If our partner is generating revenue, some of them just want to generate engagement. They're not interested in revenue. But if they are generating revenue, where we can, we like to participate in the upside there. For example, we do a lot of NFT stuff these days where we're integrating NFTs into the game, or the NFTs are rewards for predicting correctly. If there are NFTs that are being sold and generating revenue from the platform, we're really bullish on maybe taking a lesser license fee and getting more revenue share on the back end to fully align us with our partners. We love doing that.
And help me understand how NFTs plug into any of these experiences. If you want to take Real Housewives as an example, or cricket, but any one example, if you could take and explain how NFTs are plugged in, I think that'd be helpful to understand.
So there are a couple of ways. So the first is we work with NFT projects as a content owner. So the same way as we work with reality TV or sports, we can provide gamification for NFTs. An example is our partner Chibi Dinos. They're a 10,000 collection of digital dinosaurs. They sold out their collection in 18 minutes, but then there's nothing to do with the NFTs. They're just yours. You can make it your profile picture, but that's about it, right? So for Chibi Dinos, because they're basketball themed, we're building an NBA prediction game. So with your NFT, make predictions on the NBA. And every week you either get promoted, relegated, or stay safe in your division. And if you end up in higher divisions, you can buy more exclusive NFTs. So it's really engaging. So that's one way that we kind of add our prediction or fantasy games to NFTs. In other instances, they can just be rewards instead of paying out cash or rupees in India when we're working with partners there, or signed merchandise. You can actually give out NFTs, and we can design, mint, and be that blockchain partner for our partners as well.
So interesting. Could you help me understand the NBA prediction engine that's linked to the dinosaur NFTs? It seems very interesting. I'm not sure I fully understood that.
Yeah, they're a really cool project. You should check them out, chibidinos.io, I believe. Who would have thought that dinosaurs and basketball kind of come together, but it's a really, really cool project. They sold out their project in 18 minutes. So now, if you're a Chibi Dino holder, you can use your Chibi Dino as a utility in a prediction game. And then if you perform well in that prediction game, you have the right to buy more NFTs, or you can buy gear for your NFT. So think of it as a Fortnite skin. If you're really high on the leaderboard, you might be able to buy a crown for your Chibi Dino. Or you might be able to buy a jersey for your Chibi Dino. Things like that add value and actually change the value. And then, NFTs are a non-fungible asset, so they go up and down in value, which is a whole nother conversation. Why we're going deep in this space is because our chief product officer comes from that world. He conceived NBA Top Shot at Dapper Labs, and before that, he built the FIFA game at EA Sports. So he brings that great experience, and that's kind of why we're finding a lot of success in the NFT business, and specifically bringing games to NFTs.
So interesting. It's a world that I'm starting to scratch the surface of, and I'm so intrigued by everything I learn about what's possible there. Just to switch gears a bit, something else that is very interesting about what you do, Matt, is you guys have a very interesting corporate structure, financial structure, if you will. Tell us about that, and tell us why you guys picked that.
As I mentioned, we were on that path of being a private company, went through Techstars, and then when we closed a couple of those white label deals, we were, all right, let's go and leverage this into a seed round. Let's raise our first big round. But at that same time, a group in Canada, Victory Square Technologies, put something on the table that was interesting. It was the opportunity to raise, much more money in a faster period of time by going public on the Canadian market. Now, it's not a New York Stock Exchange style exit or payday for the founders, but it was a way to unlock capital and then liquidity as well. So over time, you have a public stock that can be sold, but of course you need to grow the business first. And we did a lot of diligence. At the time, he was just a mentor of mine, but now he's our chairman, Jay Moses. He comes from the original Grand Theft Auto team, and then he's still on the board of Take-Two Interactive. He helped me diligence it a lot because he has that public market experience at Take-Two. And at the end of the diligence, we just said, you know what, let's do this. And we did it. We raised $6 million. We went public in June last year. And, we're a small market cap company. We're about $15 million market cap. But now we unlocked capital that could grow the team. We went from 3 of us to 20 of us full time now, working on it with great people like Jay, our chairman, and Santi, our chief product officer that I mentioned. Being able to grow the team and bring people like that on board has exponentially driven our business further. So now we're in a great spot where we're thriving and generating revenue now. And, it's just an alternate to raising from VC. It's not a better way. It's not right for everyone. It's not a sure path to success, but for us, it was the right move.
Yeah, I don't know of many growing small startups that have taken this path, being listed in this manner. And are there any downsides or challenges or negatives, if you will, of having this structure?
Yeah, there's definitely negatives or hurdles, struggles of being a public company. The first is the process of getting public. We were lucky that we had a unique vehicle that could acquire our assets and take us public. And it was pretty short, but when I say that, it took about 7 months from start to finish. So that's considered short. But then obviously, the public nature of the business and the financial reporting, the auditing that has to get done, that not only takes up a lot of my time. So, I'm not in the weeds of the business anymore. I'm spending most of my time on the corporate side of it. And as a founder, that's hard to do sometimes. But at the same time, I'm learning so much that I wasn't before. So I'm really embracing that new role, kind of playing more of a leadership role, motivating role, where I've brought on these amazing people, part of the leadership team, and they're running the business day to day while I oversee it and work on the corporate side. But then obviously there's also the financial part of auditing, and the cost of keeping up with financials and auditing is also, a burden that comes with this part. The other is that, when the market goes down, you get hit as well. So, sometimes your business is thriving and you're like, we're killing it, but the market gets hit and you just kind of have to ride that bad wave. So, there are ups and downs, and there are positives and negatives. If anyone's thinking about it, you just need to look at your individual situation and recognize if it's good for you.
So it sounds like, yes, it's an unconventional path, but it gives you extra homework. You have some other risks that you wouldn't have, but it's worked out for you guys so far.
For sure. Yeah.
Cool. This has been very interesting diving into your unconventional directions that you've taken. But I certainly learned a lot. And I think it's also helpful for folks who probably are locked into a B2C free-to-play app that think that's the only path forward, for them to think about, look, what else they could do, what other possibilities there might be that may not be immediately obvious or evident. So thank you so much for sharing. This is perhaps a good place for us to wrap, Matt.
Yeah.
But before we do that, could you tell folks how they can find out more about you and everything you do?
Yeah, GameOn.app, app is where you can look at our products and learn about us. All of our news is there. You can learn who we're working with. And then, yeah, if there is anyone that's, is struggling with the B2C path and looking at that B2B as an option or didn't know it was an option, my virtual door is always open. So you can reach out to me anytime, matt@gameon.app. And yeah, it was good. We've got to do this again sometime.
Absolutely, Matt. And we'll link to your credentials, etc., on the show notes so folks can reach you if they would like some advice, right? Excellent. Thank you so much for being on the show.
No worries. Talk soon.
Thank you for listening to the Mobile User Acquisition Show. If any of this was helpful or instructive, I would love for you to leave us a review or rating on iTunes, Stitcher, Overcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast fix. This podcast takes a ton of time, effort, and love to produce, and I deeply value every review and every piece of feedback that you share.